All right, so I wanted to give you a visualization of how the sphere works that we live in. And so, because I don't think I've given you anything up to this point, I've just been explaining it. But so, real quick here, the sun and moon up here too, they would be in a membrane over the top of that as well. There could literally be like a million membranes from the top of the firmament that we see to the sun and moon. They are also inside of one of these membranes, okay? Everything is inside these different membranes, and they go on forever, all right? So this is like the most simplified version I could do, but it is extremely way more complicated than this. All these little bubbles inside here that you see in each of these realms, those are different realities in that dimension. So they're all their own little bubble, and you might think that so let's say you had a handful of bubbles, okay? Bubble suds, you were taking a bubble bath and you grab a handful of suds, okay? The bigger bubbles you would think would be bigger worlds, and the tiniest bubble in there you would think would be a small one, but that's not how it works. When you phase into those, they are just as vast as the biggest bubble worlds, if you will, because that is like part of the illusion. Like a world that was the size of a dot bubble, like one little tiny dot, you would think, oh, that's going to be nothing. No, it's probably bigger than the biggest world of all of them. And so the way it works is, so like when I was talking about space travel, or even when I was talking about teleportation, these little bubbles are how the reality is made up. So like when you want to do a slipstream or warp drive, these are the bubbles. So you like pick one bubble over here, and then you want to go to a bubble over here. You octave, you get the right frequency, the octave of that specific realm, you match it, and then you slide through all of these bubbles directly to it. That is how you're collapsing it to the one singularity. That's how teleportation works. That's how you fold space. And so each of these realms, and like I told you, they go inward towards the singularity here, right? So it's just kind of showing you how this works, and these would never be like exact planes or straight lines. Instead of thinking of a bubble like of a perfect circle, think of them like elongated, all these weird different shapes, right? Because inside the bubble, the world or dimension, like say we wanted to go to the elf world, and the elf world was here in the, let's just say this is the 5th dimension or something. We would just have to match this octave. First, we'd have to clear this membrane here. And you don't force through, you have to phase through it. So you would phase through this, then you would match the right bubble octave that you wanted to go to and go that way. So my next video I do, it's going to be on, here, I'll let you look at that real quick. I just did this morning. If I hand drew it, it would be massive, way bigger than this. This is just the most basic example I could possibly give you. But I wanted you to kind of get a visualization of how it worked. So let me ask you this. The only way that something that can come into our reality, into our bubble, is it would have to clear about 1 million other membranes and go through portal gates that would have to be open for them. How could a rock do that? How, if we actually had went to the moon, how could we have went through all these membranes to go all the way up to get to the moon that's actually inside our sphere? How could we have done that? You couldn't. It's impossible. So, when we see asteroid impacts, craters, every single one is a fucking lie. Every single fucking one is a lie. They have completely fucking tricked you. And on my next video, I am going to completely prove that asteroid impact that would be of any size is completely impossible to happen. That is just another fear mechanism. And then I decided, you know what? Let's take the top 10 fear mechanisms that they tell the public, and then I debunked all those too. So that will be my next video. If they have nothing that they can use to scare you because you know the truth of how everything actually works, what the fuck else they got? Huh? We ain't scared. We ain't afraid of your lies and bullshit. But anyways, this is how it actually works. This is literally how it works. I'm the first to ever talk about this or discuss it. Just like every video, completely new concepts, new ideas. This is what it is to be in the Christ field. I can't wait for my next video because I'm going to just fucking totally destroy it so fucking bad. And I already completely ruined NASA because I've shown you, number one, that you can't even use a rocket. That doesn't work. You have to use the portals. You have to use arc gates. You have to use octave, sound, and frequency to get through all these things. And I already designed the warp engine and the craft. So any scientist, bring it. All day long, I will absolutely destroy you with the facts because the world that most people follow Newtonian thinking, Newtonian physics, Newtonian medicine, seeing everything as an object. That's why it always whoosh, 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 right past your head every fucking time. Because you don't understand how things actually work and you believe what you've been told. Throw away everything you've been told. What you think you've been taught, what you've been taught is disinformation. This is how everything works. I'm telling you straight up, this is how everything works. Hope you have a great day. Namaste.